Well, ladies and gentlemen, we were all expecting Rostermania, but not this specifically. And honestly, I'm just so grateful to all involved. They're feeding my kids over the next couple of days. So big shout out to all the pros that are feeding Rostermania propaganda. But let me tell you, I was absolutely bombshelled and shocked to see what I saw. And I don't know what the final conclusion is going to be, but we're here to give you all the inside scoop and as well as some of the leaks per se to look out for that I've had with people involved in some of these roster changes as well. So let's dive into it. Firstly, I want to draw a conclusion or kind of go back to where this kind of sort of possibly began, depending if we connect all these dots together. Strafing Flame obviously a couple of days ago saying the boys and him have mutually decided to part ways with one another. Then he also said, you know, just thought I want to plant this seed, this concrete foundation, right? So proud of my boy Koifel. We know him and Koi have a good relationship, right? And Koi played for Legends at one point in time for a substitute spot. Then we see a deleted tweet coming out of Phony just hours ago. And I know what you're thinking. What? Bait? No way, right? And okay, that's what I'm thinking. I think if we all had to like put all of our money in a pot, we'd probably say bait. Now, I do want to share some of the other conversations I've had with specific individuals to talk about this. And this one specifically says, looking for team for champs wasn't my decision. So insinuating the IGL of SSG that just won Split 2 playoffs have now been dropped. What? Make it make sense, right? Doesn't make any sense. DM me if interested, of course. Now we see this, we think gotta be bait, knowing Phony. You know, Phony's a little goofball sometimes, and now it's been deleted, gotta be bait. But I did hear from many people to say, look, it probably is bait. However, they would not be surprised. Their words, they would not be surprised if it was true, because while you may think that winning gives you a good environment inside of the team, not necessarily the case. I've heard from many sources that these guys weren't necessarily best of friends. They weren't necessarily the Adam Sandler, Kevin James type duo. They were not clicking it on that level, although they were winning and although they looked pretty solid, although they may be super team, right? Well, I guess this answers our question. Just in, Space Station has decided to part ways with the roster just after winning Split 2 playoffs. I'm editing this in after already recording this video. I'm just shocked, guys. I can't believe this has happened. I don't think anyone would have ever expected this to happen. I mean, Space Station comes back into the scene. They have a good roster. They probably do pretty solid all year. They suddenly got this, quote, super team. They win LAN, and now they're parting ways with their roster. I mean, no one is understanding what is happening. No one gets it. No one is buying that. I mean, I literally don't know what to even say right now. Just in the comments, no one is getting it. About the most confusing thing we've seen. Excuse me, what? Like, no one understands. And so obviously over the next couple of days, we'll keep these players in the loop with, I'm sure more tweets are to come. So of course, make sure to follow us on Twitter as well if you guys want to stay up to date with some of those things. But we'll probably loop these in over the next couple of days to kind of explain this story further. But my gosh, this was crazy and definitely a big shocker. Now, the CEO of Space Station did come out after the fact to explain what was going on, and it looks like my inside sources were definitely correct on the clips you saw before this. He said, I would like to address the situation around the Apex roster right now as it comes to a shock to everyone, but during the World Cup, it was brought to our attention that the team was going through internal issues and that they would like to make changes or disband. Rosters were locked for ALGS Split 2 playoffs, and so we mutually agreed that this would be their last event as a team together. Oddly enough, they freaking won it. And so we were also aware that ALGS Champs was being pushed to 2025, and our contractual agreement with the players would expire at the end of 2024. We spoke with the players about an extension, but they wanted to keep their options open after the major, and we agreed to release them as soon as the event concluded so that they could move on to new teams. So we want to thank Phony, Zainu, and Koifel for putting their differences aside, but it seems like, yes, they did have internal issues, like the sources said earlier in the video. Well, if LG is going to make a roster change, maybe Sweet's available, or maybe Strafing Flame that we just talked about, right? Third place at Champs last year. Really good performance at, some of these other events as well. So, look, Strafing Flame is someone to really take serious. This guy is a beast. Maybe that's the direction they're talking about. Maybe they want someone to bring the vibes up because for whatever reason, these three individuals can't seem to click or mesh with one another as good as you would think. And that's not my firsthand experience. I'm just going based off what others have told me. They said, look, these guys outside of the game are not hanging out with one another. They're not necessarily, all lovey-dovey and good friends like that. They're just business partners. They're really good at the game, and they're doing pretty well, getting good results. But there's also some more conversations regarding Rostermania. Arctic comes out for FaZe to say he is looking for a team for LCQ and year 5 most flexible player in the game. Any role, any legend, too much passion. No surprise here that FaZe is making a roster change. Obviously not doing too well in the last LAN. It's just like the Apex formula. For whatever reason, as soon as you don't get the result you want, boom, quit, give up on that roster, go find someone else. They didn't play bad at the World Cup. They almost won the World Cup. They were very, very close to having some really good moments there. And I hate that things worked out the way that they did, or that they always work out the way they do with roster changes in Apex. You don't see those close buddies, those close friends sticking it out and trying to build an environment, an atmosphere that is friendly oriented or friendship oriented and bonding outside of the game and getting to know one another personally. And I get it. It's business relationships and we're here to make money. We're here to win tournaments. But I do think that the outside relationships with one another can help contribute to that, right? So that's just my opinion. Unfortunately, not the way it's going down. Also, be on the lookout for Nickmercs apparently returning back to Apex Legends despite the community hating him or despising him. So he says, that's his quotes here. Nick is obviously a guy that came and picked up 2 of the brightest talents that are upcoming out of a ranked game in platinum rank. Apparently, my phone's blowing up with these crazy people. Anyways, platinum rank, you get Deeds. Obviously, Gent was no stranger, but still meeting them in a ranked game. Gent and Deeds, now obviously 2 of the very strong pro players in the North American scene. Nick seems to be coming back, and obviously this is good for the content scene because Apex is already kind of in a drought for the last couple of months. But it's nice to have bigger creators come back. Maybe the game gets a little bit more attention, and say what you want to, but the drama only helps the game. It gets more attention on the game. He did tweet to say, "Good morning, we're back, sights are set, and grind time." So Nick is back, and obviously there's been more and more coming out over the last couple of days saying that he actually would be participating in ALGS. So stay tuned. Obviously, we'll see how that all develops in the next couple of days. And then we've also got to make mention of Complexity. We had this coming out on the Apex Reddit just a couple of days, about a day ago, saying, reading Monsoon's tweet after LAN, I pretty much think it's confirmed that Lou might be leaving Complexity. Who do you guys think would be a good replacement? And he's talking about this tweet, right? Monsoon says at one point here, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of shakeups concerning rosters and players, but know that no matter what, you can believe in us. So it kind of maybe sets some seeds, maybe some plans of doubt that maybe we might be making a change. Who knows? People are thinking Lou might be leaving. Who knows? Once again, you can never know for sure, but people are starting to think, look, if that happens, who's going to be the new third? Well, it is a good inference here to make that Enemy has already publicly stated he will be leaving Designful after Champs is over. They're going to be playing Champs. Enemy had on a stream not long ago that he would be doing this and he would be finishing it out, but after that he would be leaving DSG or leaving Design and going to a new team. Who is the best third option for Complexity? Enemy most definitely would be a very solid option, but it is still likely, according to many, that Enemy would join. Enemy says he's sticking with DSG for Champs, but before Complexity had a spot. Now that Complexity has a spot, will he change his mind and not wait for Champs? That is the conversation that many are having. Interested to see what you guys think. Now, I've also been in conversation with another team, and I'll have to just leave you with a little bit of a cliffhanger. But I was told by an individual that is involved with the roster that they were done dirty by someone on the roster just recently. So stay tuned. We'll be seeing that story in the next couple of days. Also, if you guys have not seen the big story today, I won't dox anyone or say any names, but there are some Apex Pro players or semi-pro players that were near this school shooting that happened in Georgia earlier today. Obviously, I live in Georgia, so this stuff is just really getting closer and closer to home. And obviously, some Apex pros that you guys probably would know. Like I said, I won't drop their names because it's just not my place. But look, man, this stuff is real. Make sure that while you're online, even though you may have your opinions, remember, people are real people at the end of the day, and stuff can get real sometimes. Stuff like this kind of makes you put into perspective how real, fragile life is. And look, we are a community at the end of the day. We are here to have fun. We're here to play esports and not bring one another down. You never know when crazy things are about to happen. Love you guys. Stay safe out there, and make sure to subscribe for more Rostermania and ALGS updates. And until the next time, we'll see you all later, Gators.